Earth looked so small from space. A blue and green marble floating in the endless black. Yuna stood at the observation window of the Valoran flagship, watching her homeworld grow larger as they approached. She had been gone for only 2 weeks, but it felt like a lifetime. So much had changed. She had changed. Prince Taiho joined her at the window. He stood beside her in silence, watching the planet with curious eyes. "It is beautiful," he said finally. "Different from Valoran worlds. More colorful." Yuna nodded. "We have many climates. Deserts, forests, oceans, mountains. Every part of Earth is different. And 7 billion people? 8 billion now. Growing every year." Taiho shook his head slowly. 8 billion children of Valoran. Hidden for 10,000 years. It is remarkable. Yuna touched the window. The glass was cool against her fingers. "Most of them do not know," she said. "They live their lives, go to work, raise families. They have no idea what they are, what is coming for them. They will learn soon," Taiho said. "The Void Covenant will not wait. Their attack on our ship was just the beginning. They will come for Earth next." Yuna closed her eyes. She had seen the future in the heart of memory. War was coming. A war bigger than anything humanity had ever faced. The Void Covenant had been preparing for 10,000 years. They had ships, weapons, soldiers bred for destruction. Against them, humanity had nothing. Nothing except the truth of who they really were. "I need to speak to them," Yuna said. "All of them. Every human on Earth. They need to know what is coming. They need to understand." "The human governments have requested a meeting," Taiho said. "They are frightened. The battle above Earth scared them. They saw our ship fighting shadow vessels, and they did not know what to think." "Good. Fear can be useful. It makes people listen." The flagship entered Earth's orbit. Below, cities sparkled like jewels in the night. Yuna could see the lights of Seoul, where she had grown up. She wondered if her friends were looking up at the sky right now, wondering about the strange ship above their heads. She would see them again soon. But first, she had work to do. The meeting was held in Geneva, in a great hall built for diplomacy. Leaders from every nation sat at a curved table, their faces tense with worry. Cameras recorded everything, broadcasting the event to billions of screens around the world. Yuna walked into the hall alone. She had refused guards, refused escorts. She wanted to face her own people as herself, not as an alien ambassador, but as a human being with an important message. The leaders watched her approach. Some recognized her face from news reports about the peace banquet. The translator who had drunk poison to save an alien prince. The woman who had died and come back speaking an ancient language. She stood at the center of the hall and looked around at the faces staring back at her. Presidents, prime ministers, generals, diplomats. The most powerful people on Earth. They all looked so small to her now. "My name is Yuna," she began. Her voice was calm and clear. 2 weeks ago, I was a translator. I worked for your governments, helping with the first contact between humanity and the Valoran Empire. I was nobody special." She paused, letting the silence build. "Then I drank a poison meant for Prince Taiho of Valoran. I died. My heart stopped. My brain stopped. But I did not stay dead. I woke up speaking a language I had never learned. A language that has not been spoken for 10,000 years. The leaders shifted in their seats. Some whispered to their advisors. All of them watched Yuna with growing unease. The Valoran elders told me the truth, Yuna continued. 10,000 years ago, their ancestors fled a great war. Before they left, they seeded young worlds with life. They created new species, carrying Valoran blood and Valoran memories. Earth was one of those worlds. Humanity was one of those species. Gasps filled the hall. Some leaders stood up in shock. Others shook their heads in denial. "This is impossible," one of them said. "Humans evolved on Earth. We have fossil records, genetic evidence. Your scientists will confirm it," Una interrupted. "The Valoran markers are in our DNA. They've always been there. You simply did not know what to look for." She raised her hand. The lights in the hall flickered. Screens behind her came to life, showing images from the heart of memory ancient cities, great ships, the history of a civilization that spanned the galaxy. "This is our heritage," Una said. "This is what we lost. But it is also what we can become again." She lowered her hand. The screens went dark. "There is more. The enemies who destroyed the Valoran Empire still exist. They call themselves the Void Covenant. They have been watching Earth for centuries, waiting to see if we would awaken to our true nature. Now that we have, they are coming." The hall erupted in chaos. Leaders shouted questions. Security guards reached for weapons. Fear filled the room like a flood. Una stood still in the center of the storm. She waited until the noise died down, until all eyes were on her again. "I know you are afraid," she said softly. "You should be. The enemy is powerful. They have destroyed thousands of worlds. But they made a mistake. They gave us time. Time to grow. Time to learn. Time to become something they did not expect." She stepped forward, her eyes blazing with conviction. "Humanity is not weak. We have survived ice ages and plagues and wars that should have destroyed us. We have climbed from caves to skyscrapers, from horses to starships. We adapt. We overcome. We never stop fighting." Her voice rose, filling the hall. "The Void Covenant thinks we are easy prey. They think we will fall like the Valoran Empire fell. But they are wrong. We are not the Valorans of 10,000 years ago. We are their children, forged in the fire of a harsh world, tempered by struggle and suffering. We are stronger than they ever were." She turned slowly, looking at each leader in turn. "I am not asking for your permission. I am not asking for your approval. I am telling you what is coming, and I am telling you how we will face it. Together, as one people, as one world." She extended her hand toward Prince Taiho, who had entered the hall quietly during her speech. He walked forward and stood beside her. "The Valoran Empire will stand with us," Taiho said. "We have ships. We have technology. We have knowledge. But most importantly, we have family. Humanity is our family. We will not abandon you." He knelt before Una, not in submission, but in respect. "In partnership. Una of Earth," he said. "You saved my life. You awoke the heart of our ancient ship. You defeated the Void Covenant's first attack. In the eyes of my people, you are a hero. In my eyes, you are something more." He looked up at her. "You are the bridge, the first link between our worlds in 10,000 years. I pledge my loyalty to you, not as a servant, but as an ally. Together, we will face whatever comes." Una looked down at the alien prince kneeling before her. Behind him, the leaders of Earth watched in stunned silence. The cameras continued to record, sending this moment to every corner of the planet. She thought about her mother, who had died hoping for a cure that did not exist. She thought about all the humans who had suffered, who had struggled, who had dreamed of a better future. They had never known the truth about themselves. They had never known how special they were. Now they would know. Now they would rise. Una reached down and took Taiho's hand. She pulled him to his feet and turned to face the cameras. "People of Earth," she said, "my brothers and sisters, I know this is hard to believe. I know it changes everything you thought you knew. But I need you to trust me. I need you to be brave." She smiled a small smile, but real. "We are not alone in the universe. We never were. And now, after 10,000 years of waiting, we are finally going home." She looked up through the ceiling, toward the stars she could not see but knew were there. The Void Covenant is coming. They think they will find a world of victims, easy to destroy. But they will find something else. They will find a world of warriors, a world of survivors, a world of dreamers who refuse to give up. Her voice rang out like a bell, clear and strong. They will find humanity. And humanity will be ready. She turned and walked out of the hall, Prince Taiho at her side. Behind her, the chaos continued. But ahead of her, the future waited. A future among the stars. A future earned through sacrifice and courage. A future that was only just beginning. And somewhere in the darkness between galaxies. The Void Covenant watched and trembled. They had expected to find prey. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous. They had awakened humanity. The warning came 3 days later. Yuna was in the training chamber, learning to control the ancient systems of the ship. Prince Taiho stood beside her, watching as she moved her hands through the air, guiding streams of light like a conductor leading an orchestra. She had learned so much in 3 days. Her mind was expanding, filling with knowledge that had been sleeping for millennia, but she was still human, still tired, still scared. The alarm started suddenly. Red lights flashed across the walls. A deep voice spoke in Valoran, warning of approaching danger. Yuna understood every word. Enemy ships detected. Multiple contacts. Closing fast. Prince Taiho's face went pale. He grabbed Yuna's arm and pulled her toward the door. "The bridge," he said. "We need to get to the bridge now." They ran through the corridors. Guards joined them along the way, their weapons drawn. The ship shook as something struck its shields. Yuna stumbled, but Taiho caught her and kept her moving. The bridge was a wide circular room at the top of the ship. Screens covered the walls, showing images of space outside. Yuna saw them immediately, dark shapes against the stars, moving closer. Ships made of black metal, with no lights, no markings. Shadow vessels. "The Void Covenant," Elder Bora said. She stood at the center of the bridge, her old hands gripping a console. "They have found us. Faster than I expected." "How many ships?" Taiho asked. 12. "No, 15. More are coming." Yuna looked at the screens. The shadow ships were spreading out, surrounding the flagship. They moved in perfect formation, like predators circling wounded prey. There was nowhere to run. "We cannot fight them," one of the Lauren officers said. His voice was shaking. "Our weapons are old. Our shields are weak. If we engage, they will destroy us. Then what do you suggest?" Taiho demanded. "Surrender? Perhaps we can negotiate. Perhaps if we give them what they want to destroy all life that carries Valoran blood," Elder Bora interrupted. "There is nothing to negotiate. They will not stop until we are all dead." The bridge fell silent. Fear hung in the air like smoke. Yuna stepped forward. Her heart was pounding, but her voice was steady. "I can fight them." Everyone turned to look at her. The young human woman in borrowed Valoran clothes, standing among aliens twice her size. "The ship has weapons," Yuna continued. "Ancient weapons from before the First War. They have been sleeping like everything else. But I can wake them up." "Those weapons have not been used in 10,000 years, the officer said. "We do not even know if they still work." "They work. I can feel them. The ship is talking to me, showing me its secrets." Yuna touched the wall, and blue light rippled outward from her fingers. "It wants to fight. It remembers what the void did to its creators. It wants revenge." Taiho moved to her side. "What do you need?" "Access to the main control core. And time. I need time to activate the systems. You will have both." Taiho turned to his officers. "Defend the ship. Keep the enemy occupied. Give her as much time as you can." The officers hesitated, then nodded. They began shouting orders, coordinating defenses. The ship's regular weapons powered up old, but still functional. They would not win the battle, but they could delay it. Taiho led Yuna to a hidden door at the back of the bridge. It opened at his touch, revealing a small chamber filled with golden light. In the center stood a column of pure crystal, reaching from floor to ceiling. It hummed with power. "The control core," Taiho said. "The heart of the ship. Only the captain is supposed to enter this room. But the ship has already accepted you. It will listen to you more than it listens to any of us." Yuna walked toward the crystal column. She could feel its power radiating outward, warm and welcoming. It recognized her. It had been waiting for her dot. She placed her hands on the crystal. The ancient language rose in her throat, words she had never learned, but somehow always knew. She began to speak. The ship responded. Systems that had been dead for millennia sparked to life. Deep in the belly of the ship, massive machines began to move. Weapons long forgotten extended from hidden compartments. Shields strengthened, layer upon layer of protection wrapping around the hull. Engines roared with new power, pushing the ship forward with impossible speed. On the bridge, the officers watched in amazement as their screens filled with new data. Weapon systems they had never seen before. Shield configurations they thought were legends. Engine output that should have been impossible. "By the ancestors," one of them whispered. "She is doing it. She is actually doing it." Outside, the shadow ships noticed the change. They stopped their advance, confused by the sudden surge of power from their prey. Then they attacked. Black beams of energy streaked through space, slamming into the flagship shields. The shields held. They did not flicker. They did not weaken. They stood firm against the assault. Yuna felt every impact. Through the crystal, she was connected to the ship. Its pain was her pain. Its strength was her strength. She gritted her teeth and pushed harder. "Weapons ready," she said. Her voice echoed through the ship's speakers, reaching every corner. Targeting enemy vessels. The shadow ships tried to scatter, but they were too slow. Beams of white light erupted from the flagship, pure energy, hotter than stars. The beams cut through the black metal of the enemy ships like fire through paper. One ship exploded. Then another. Then 3 more. The remaining shadow ships turned and fled. They jumped into faster than light speed, disappearing into the darkness between stars. In moments, the battle was over. Yuna released the crystal. She stumbled backward, exhausted. Taiho caught her before she fell. "You did it," he said. His voice was full of wonder. "You saved us all." Yuna shook her head weakly. "They will come back. More of them, stronger. This was just the beginning." She was right. Even as she spoke, a message appeared on the bridge screens. A transmission from the fleeing ships. A single sentence in the ancient language, meant for her. "We know what you are now, child of 2 worlds. We are coming. And when we arrive, we will burn everything you love to ash." Yuna read the message. Fear tried to crawl into her heart, but she pushed it away. She had been afraid before, when she drank the poison, when she woke up speaking an unknown language, when she learned the truth about humanity. Fear was familiar now. It was almost like an old friend. But she had something stronger than fear. She had purpose. She stood up straight, despite her exhaustion. She looked at the screens, showing the empty space where the enemy ships had been. "Let them come," she said quietly. "We will be ready." Taiho smiled at her. It was a real smile, full of hope. "Yes," he said. "We will." The officers on the bridge began to cheer. They had won their first battle against an ancient enemy. It was a small victory, but it was a beginning. Yuna walked back to the bridge, and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth waiting. Her home, her people. Billions of humans who did not know what they truly were. Who did not know that their blood carried the legacy of an ancient empire. Who did not know that enemies were coming to destroy them. She would have to tell them. She would have to prepare them. She would have to lead them. It was a heavy burden for a simple translator to carry. But Yuna was not simple anymore. She was the bridge between two worlds. The first human to awaken. The herald of a new age, and she would not let her people down. The corridors of the Valoran flagship were long and white. They curved gently, like the inside of a giant shell. Yuna walked beside Prince Taiho, her bare feet making soft sounds on the smooth floor. She was still wearing the thin medical gown from the healing chamber. No one had thought to give her proper clothes, but clothes did not matter now. Something else was happening. Something bigger than comfort or dignity. The ship was alive. Yuna could feel it. Not just the hum of engines or the pulse of power running through the walls. Something deeper. Something older. It was like walking through the body of a sleeping giant. And the giant was waking up. Lights flickered as she passed. Doors opened before she reached them. Screens on the walls lit up with symbols she did not recognize, but somehow understood. The ship was responding to her presence. It knew she was there. "This has never happened before," Prince Taiho said. His voice was quiet, almost afraid. "I have lived on this ship for 20 years. I know every room, every corridor. But these doors, I did not even know they existed." They stopped in front of a massive wall. It was different from the others. Made of dark metal instead of white stone. Strange patterns covered its surface, swirling like frozen waves. There was no handle, no control panel, no way to open it. But as Yuna stepped closer, the patterns began to glow. Blue light spread across the metal like water. The wall trembled, and then it split apart. Behind it was a vast chamber. The ceiling was so high that Yuna could not see where it ended. The walls were lined with machines, tall columns of crystal and metal, pulsing with soft light. In the center of the room stood a single pedestal, and on the pedestal rested a small sphere made of clear glass. Elder Bora gasped. She fell to her knees, her old body shaking. "The heart of memory," she whispered. "It still exists. After 10,000 years, it still exists." Yuna walked toward the pedestal. She felt pulled by invisible strings. Her feet moved on their own. Her hand reached out without her permission. When her fingers touched the glass sphere, the world exploded into light. Images flooded her mind. Not dreams or visions, but memories. Real memories, recorded by real people who had lived thousands of years ago. She saw the Valoran Empire at its height. 1,000 worlds united under one flag. Ships that could cross the galaxy in hours. Cities that floated in the clouds. Peace and beauty and endless progress. Then she saw the enemy. They came from the dark spaces between stars. Creatures of shadow and hunger, with no faces and no mercy. They attacked without warning. They destroyed everything they touched. The Valorans called them the Void. The war lasted 100 years. Billions died. Worlds burned. The great empire crumbled like sand in the wind. The Valorans who survived fled to the far edges of the galaxy, searching for safety. But before they left, they made a choice. They would not let their knowledge die with them. They would plant it in new life. New species on young worlds, carrying Valoran blood and Valoran memories. Sleeping until the time was right. Earth was one of those worlds. Humanity was one of those children. The images faded. Yuna pulled her hand away from the sphere. Her cheeks were wet with tears. She did not remember crying. "We are your children," she said. Her voice echoed in the vast chamber. "You made us. You gave us life. Elder Bora rose slowly to her feet. Her old face was wet with tears, too. "Yes," she said. "And now you have returned. The prophecy has come true." Prince Taiho stood beside Yuna. He looked at her with new eyes, not just curiosity anymore, but respect. "The memories in that sphere," he said. "Can you access them? Can you read what is stored inside?" Yuna hesitated. She touched the sphere again, gently this time. More images came, but slower now. She could control them. She could search through them like pages in a book. "Yes," she said. "I can read them. It is like remembering something I forgot a long time ago." "Then you can unlock the ship's true systems," Elder Bora said. "The weapons, the shields, the engines we lost the knowledge to use. Everything that made our ancestors powerful. Weapons?" Yuna pulled her hand away again. "I am not a soldier. I am a translator. I do not know how to use weapons." "You do not need to know," the elder said. "The knowledge is inside you now. The sphere has given it to you. All you need to do is speak. Speak the ancient language." The words that came out of her mouth without her understanding them. Yuna realized now that those words were not random. They were commands. The language of the Valoran ancestors was a living code, built into the very structure of their technology. When she spoke it, the machines listened. "This is too much," Yuna said. "I did not ask for this. I just wanted to save someone's life. I did not want to become whatever this is." Prince Taiho took her hand. His fingers were warm and gentle. "I understand," he said. "This was forced on you. You did not choose it. But consider this. You saved my life with courage and sacrifice. That is not the action of someone ordinary. That is the action of someone extraordinary." Yuna looked at him. His silver eyes were kind. "The poison was not an accident," he continued. "Whoever sent the assassin knew about the catalyst. They knew what it would do to a human who drank it. They wanted to create a weapon. But instead, they created something else. A bridge. A connection between our peoples. You can be the one to show both Valorans and humans what we can become together." Yuna thought about his words. She thought about her mother, who had died waiting for medicine that did not exist on Earth. She thought about all the humans suffering right now, from diseases and wars and poverty. The Valoran technology in this ship could change everything. It could save millions of lives. But she also thought about the fear in Elder Bora's eyes when she mentioned weapons. There were enemies out there. Dangerous enemies who wanted to stop this. Who wanted to keep humans and Valorans apart. Who sent the assassin? Yuna asked. Who did not want peace between our peoples? Elder Bora's face grew dark. They call themselves the Void Covenant. They are the remnants of the ancient enemy. They survived the war and hid in the shadows for 10,000 years. They believe that the Valoran bloodline must be destroyed. Every branch, every seed, including humanity. They know about us? They have always known. They have been watching Earth for centuries, waiting to see if humans would awaken to their true nature. Now that you have awakened, they will come for you. For all of you. Yuna felt cold. The weight of what she had learned pressed down on her shoulders like a mountain. Then I have no choice, she said quietly. If I do nothing, they will destroy us anyway. If I act, at least I have a chance to fight back. She turned to the sphere again. She placed both hands on its smooth surface. The light inside it grew brighter, responding to her touch. Teach me, she said. Teach me everything I need to know. The sphere pulsed. Knowledge poured into her mind like a flood. Ship systems, weapons, shields, navigation, communication, history, science, culture. 10,000 years of Valoran civilization, compressed into moments. It hurt. It burned. Yuna screamed, but she did not let go. When it was over, she stood trembling, sweat dripping from her face. But her eyes were different now. Deeper, older, full of stars. "I understand," she said. And her voice was not just her voice anymore. It carried echoes of everyone who had come before. "I understand what I am. What we all are." She looked at Prince Taiho. She looked at Elder Bora. She looked at the ancient machines around her. "Humanity is not just a child of Valoran," she said. "We are the next step. The evolution. We carried your blood through thousands of years of struggle and survival. We grew strong. We grew resilient. We learned to adapt and fight and never give up." She raised her hand, and the machines hummed in response. "The Void Covenant thinks we are weak. They think they can destroy us before we understand what we are. But they are wrong." Her voice rang through the chamber like a bell. "Humanity is awake now. And we are coming home." Yuna opened her eyes. The light was blue, soft and cool, like moonlight shining through water. She was lying on something smooth and hard. Her body felt strange, heavy and light at the same time. Her head was full of fog. Where was she? She tried to sit up, but her arms would not obey. They felt like they belonged to someone else. She blinked slowly, trying to clear her vision. The blue light came from the ceiling above her. It pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. She was in a small room. The walls were white and curved, without any corners. Strange machines surrounded her bed. They beeped softly and flashed with colored lights. Tubes connected to her arms, carrying silver liquid into her veins. Yuna remembered the banquet. The chalice. The poison. The pain. She should be dead, but she was not dead. She was alive. Somehow impossibly alive. A door opened on the far wall. It slid apart without a sound, revealing a figure standing in the doorway. Yuna recognized him immediately. Prince Taiho. His white hair glowed in the blue light. His silver eyes were wide with surprise. "You are awake," he said in Valoran. His voice was soft, almost a whisper. "The doctors said you would not survive. They said the poison destroyed your body. But you are awake." Yuna tried to speak. She opened her mouth and words came out. But they were not the words she expected. They were not Korean. They were not English. They were not even the Valoran she had learned in her training. They were something else. Something older. Something she had never heard before. The words flowed from her lips like a river. They sounded like music and thunder. They felt ancient and powerful. Yuna did not understand them. She did not know where they came from. But she could not stop them. Prince Taiho stepped back. His face turned pale. His silver eyes grew wide with fear. "That language," he whispered. "That is impossible. No one has spoken that language for 10,000 years." Yuna stopped. The strange words faded from her mouth. She stared at the prince, confused and afraid. "What happened to me?" she asked. This time, the words came out in Valoran. A normal, learned Valoran. What language was I speaking? The prince did not answer. He turned and ran from the room. The door slid shut behind him. Yuna was alone again. She lay on the bed, staring at the blue ceiling, trying to understand. Her mind was full of shadows. Images she did not recognize. Memories that were not her own. She saw great cities made of crystal and light. She saw ships flying between stars. She saw a people with pale blue skin and silver eyes, building an empire that stretched across the galaxy. She saw a war terrible and bloody. She saw those same people falling, dying, their cities burning, and she heard a voice. A woman's voice, speaking in that ancient language. "The children will return. When they are ready, they will remember." Yuna closed her eyes. The images faded, but the voice remained, echoing in the corners of her mind. The door opened again. This time, several people entered. Prince Taiho was there, along with an old Valoran woman and 2 guards. The old woman wore white robes covered in golden symbols. Her face was wrinkled, and her silver eyes were clouded with age. But she moved with strength and purpose. "This is Elder Bora," Prince Taiho said. "She is the keeper of our ancient records. She needs to hear you speak." Yuna sat up slowly. The tubes in her arms pulled, but she ignored the discomfort. She looked at the old woman. "I do not understand what is happening," Yuna said. "I died. I should be dead. But I am here, and I am speaking words I do not know." Elder Bora stepped closer. She reached out and touched Yuna's forehead. Her fingers were cold and dry, like old paper. "Speak again," the elder commanded. "Speak the ancient tongue." Yuna shook her head. "I cannot control it. The words just came out. I do not know how to make them come again." The elder closed her eyes. She whispered something under her breath, a prayer, perhaps, or an ancient chant. Then she opened her eyes and looked at Yuna with an expression Yuna could not read. "The prophecy speaks of this," Elder Bora said. 10,000 years ago, our ancestors fled a great war. They traveled far across the galaxy, searching for a new home. But before they left, they did something. They planted seeds. "Seeds?" Yuna asked. "Life," the elder said. They seeded young worlds with life. Worlds that would grow and evolve over thousands of years. Worlds where new species would rise. Species that carried Valoran blood in their veins, hidden and dormant. Yuna's heart began to beat faster. "Earth, are you saying that humans are the children of Valoran?" Elder Bora finished. "Yes, that is what I am saying. Your species was created by our ancestors. You carry our blood, our memories, our language. It has been sleeping inside you, waiting to awaken. But why? Why would it awaken now?" The elder looked at Prince Taiho. The prince nodded slowly. "The poison," he said. "It was not meant to kill. It was a catalyst. A trigger designed to awaken the dormant Valoran genes inside a human body. Whoever sent the assassin knew this secret. They wanted to use you as a weapon." "A weapon?" Yuna's voice shook. "Against who?" "Against us," Elder Bora said. "There are those who do not want peace between Valorans and humans. They fear what will happen if the children of Valoran remember who they are. They want to destroy us all." Yuna felt dizzy. This was too much. Too fast. Yesterday, she was a simple translator. Today, she was... What? A weapon? A prophecy? A bridge between 2 worlds? She looked down at her hands. They looked the same as before. Small and pale, with short nails and thin fingers. But now she knew they carried something ancient inside them. Something that had been waiting for 10,000 years. "What do I do now?" she asked quietly. Elder Bora smiled for the first time. It was a sad smile, full of old pain and older hope. "Now you learn," she said. "You learn who you really are. You learn to control the language that sleeps inside you. And when you are ready, you help us end a war that began before your world was born." Prince Taiho stepped forward. He knelt beside Yuna's bed, bringing his silver eyes level with her brown ones. "I owe you my life," he said. "You drank the poison meant for me. You died to save a stranger. I will not forget that. Whatever comes next, I will stand beside you. I will protect you. I will help you understand this new world you have been born into." Yuna looked at him. His face was serious and kind. She barely knew him, but she believed his words. In this strange place, surrounded by aliens and ancient secrets, he was the only thing that felt real. "Thank you," she whispered. The prince nodded. Then he stood and offered her his hand. "Can you walk? There is something you need to see." Yuna took his hand. It was warm and strong. She let him pull her to her feet. The room spun for a moment, but she held steady. "What do I need to see?" she asked. Prince Taiho led her toward the door. His guards fell in behind them. Elder Bora followed slowly, her old legs moving with careful steps. "The ship has been acting strange since you awoke," the prince said. "Systems that have been dead for centuries are coming back to life. Doors that were sealed are opening, and voices are speaking in the walls. Voices speaking the ancient tongue." He looked at Yuna with wonder and a little fear. "The ship is waking up, and I think it is waking up for you." The lights inside the great hall were soft and golden. They floated in the air like tiny suns, moving slowly above the heads of the guests. Yuna had never seen anything like it. She had been on Earth her whole life, working as a translator for the government. But tonight she stood inside an alien ship, surrounded by creatures from another world. The Valorans were tall and beautiful. Their skin was pale blue, and their eyes glowed like silver moons. They moved with grace, their long robes flowing behind them like water. Yuna watched them carefully. She had studied their language for 3 years. She knew their words, their customs, their history. But seeing them in person was different. They were real. They were here. Prince Taiho stood at the center of the room. He was the youngest son of the Valoran Emperor, sent to Earth to negotiate peace between their two worlds. His hair was white like snow, and his face was sharp and handsome. He smiled at the human leaders, speaking in a voice that was smooth and calm. Yuna translated his words into English, and then translated the human responses back into Valoran. It was hard work. Her throat was dry, and her feet hurt from standing for so long. But she did not complain. This moment was important. If the peace talks succeeded, humanity would gain access to Valoran technology, medicine that could cure any disease, ships that could travel faster than light, a future among the stars. Yuna believed in that future. She had lost her mother to cancer 5 years ago. If Valoran medicine had existed then, her mother might still be alive. So Yuna worked hard. She translated every word perfectly. She smiled at the aliens and bowed when it was proper. She did everything right. The banquet began after the speeches ended. Servants brought out trays of food, some human, some Valoran. The human leaders sat at one long table, and the Valoran delegates sat at another. Prince Taiho sat at the head of the Valoran table, with his guards standing behind him. Yuna was not important enough to sit with the guests. She stood near the wall, watching and waiting. If anyone needed translation, she would be ready. But for now, she was invisible. Just another human worker in the background. She watched Prince Taiho eat. He used strange utensils shaped like curved sticks. He ate slowly, tasting each dish with care. Sometimes he smiled. Sometimes he frowned. Yuna wondered what he was thinking. Did he like human food? Did he think humans were strange? Did he even notice her standing there? A servant approached the prince with a golden chalice. It was filled with Valoran wine, a purple liquid that glowed faintly in the light. The servant bowed low and placed the chalice on the table in front of the prince. Yuna watched the servant walk away. Something felt wrong. She did not know why, but her heart began to beat faster. She looked at the chalice. The purple wine inside it shimmered. But there was something else. A faint shimmer on the surface, like oil floating on water. Yuna had seen that shimmer before. In her training, she had learned about Valoran poisons. Some of them were invisible to the eye, but others left a trace, a thin film that floated on the surface of liquids. The trainers had shown her pictures. They had told her to watch for danger. Her blood turned cold. She looked around the room. The guards were watching the doors. The human leaders were talking and laughing. No one was looking at the prince. No one had seen the shimmer. Yuna's mind raced. She was just a translator. She had no weapon. She had no authority. If she shouted a warning, would anyone believe her? Would the guards think she was crazy? Would the peace talks fail because of her? But if she did nothing, Prince Taiho would drink the poison. He would die. The Valorans would blame humanity. War would come. Millions would die. She had to act. Yuna walked forward. Her legs felt weak, but she forced herself to move. She approached the prince's table with her head bowed low. One of the guards stepped toward her, but she spoke quickly in Valoran. "Forgive me, honored ones. I bring a message for the prince." The guard hesitated. Yuna's Valoran was perfect. She sounded like one of them. The guard stepped back and let her pass. Yuna reached the prince's side. He looked up at her with curious silver eyes. She bowed deeply. "Your Highness," she said in Valoran, "may I offer you a blessing for this meal?" The prince smiled. "A human blessing? How interesting. Please, proceed." Yuna reached for the chalice. Her hands were shaking. She lifted it slowly, as if examining it for the blessing. Then, in one quick motion, she brought the chalice to her lips and drank. The wine was cold and sweet. It slid down her throat like silk. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the pain began. It started in her stomach, a burning fire that spread through her body. Yuna gasped and dropped the chalice. It clattered on the table, spilling purple wine across the white cloth. The prince jumped to his feet. The guards shouted. The human leaders turned to look. Yuna fell to her knees. The pain was everywhere now. Her bones felt like they were breaking. Her blood felt like it was boiling. She could not breathe. She could not see. The golden lights above her blurred into darkness. She heard voices, screaming, running. Someone was calling her name, but it sounded far away, like an echo from another world. Yuna collapsed on the cold marble floor. Her body stopped moving. Her heart stopped beating. The last thing she saw was Prince Taiho's face, looking down at her with shock and horror. Then there was nothing. The great hall fell silent. The peace banquet had become a crime scene. Guards searched for the assassin, but the servant who had brought the chalice was gone. Vanished like smoke, Prince Taiho knelt beside Yuna's body. He touched her face gently. It was still warm. "She saved me," he whispered. "This human saved my life." His guards tried to pull him away, but he refused to move. He stayed beside her, watching her pale face, wondering why a stranger would die for him. The human leaders demanded answers. The Valoran delegates demanded justice. Everyone was angry. Everyone was afraid. But no one understood what had really happened. No one knew that the poison was not meant to kill. It was meant to awaken something ancient. Something hidden inside human blood for 10,000 years. And deep inside Yuna's still body, something was beginning to stir.